Hello, so on the last video we saw how to get started with Godot for an Arcanepad with our exports and everything. Now we're going to see what's going on here on the view and the gamepad. So we have these two scenes, the view and the gamepad, that are being loaded by the main scene. The main scene is the default scene and it loads one or the other depending of the availability of them. So let's see a little bit the view scene first. So let's go to the view. The view also includes the player inside. So on the view we have we are initializing our client first, arcane.init. This, of course, this is an implementation I made. You can change all, but we are going to see how it's being done. We set the device type to view and the log level to verbose. You don't need to specify this, it's verbose by default, but I wanted to leave it there so you can see how it is done. If you want to see all the parameters, you can go to here and check the library, the params. But this is mainly device type view or device type path, basically. That's the only thing you care. Actually, no, you also want to hide, set the hide mouse property to false, maybe, if you don't want the view to hide the mouse. As you can see now, it's hiding the mouse. Also, the path orientation, it can be landscape or portrait. This is for Android only. For desktop, it won't work. But for your gamepad, maybe you want to set them one way or the other. So let's continue seeing the view. So we are initializing our client, view client, and then on initialize, we subscribe to these events when the client is initialized. Let's say arcane.message.on client initialize, on client initialize. When the client is initialized, we receive an initial state that contains the gamepads that existed before the view was created. So since we are initializing the view and we receive the initial state, the gamepads that exist on that initial state were created before the view was created. Also, we are going to have gamepads connecting after the view has created. So we are going to listen to the iframePad connect event and iframePad disconnect events. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. So with the initial state paths, we are going to create a player for each path. Let's check how is this being done. So we check that there is an iframe ID. This is because if there is no iframe ID, it means there is a gamepad like the ones I have here on my left, on my right, but they haven't loaded the game, the application. They haven't loaded our gamepad, so they are not inside the iframe. So we don't care. We just return. So if they have loaded the application, then we say we create a new player and we initialize it and we pass the gamepad, because the player is going to use the gamepad for everything, to send to listen to the gamepad attacks events, to send events to the gamepad, and for everything. So we need this to set this. We are going to see it later how it is being done on the player script, but for now we are going to continue seeing this. So we add to our array of players the new player and yeah, that's pretty much it. We just create the player for all the gamepads that existed before the view was created. Now, what happens when the gamepad gets connected after the view has been created? Well, we go to the on iframePad connect and we do the same. First we check the player don't exist. If exists, we just return. And if it doesn't exist, we create the path. Here we have to manually create the Arcanepad, which is well, using the event properties, and we create the player again. This logic, as I say, is you can change it if you need. For example, when the gamepad disconnects, we destroy the player. Maybe you don't want to destroy the player when the gamepad disconnects. You want to pause the game, or you want to notify, and when the pad connects again, you want to do something else. So feel free to play with all these options, but this is a basic template that I think it's okay for starting. So that's basically the view. Now let's move to the player. And as you saw here, when we created the player, we pass the pad on the initialize event. Let's check it. Here we have the player that has a pad that is of type Arcanepad, and on initialize we set it. We set the pad to the pad. With this pad we can access the with this pad object we can access the username, the user color, that is an hexadecimal. We need to add the hash. Also, we can listen. For example, when the gamepad press the attack button, we listen and we make the player attack or whatever. We we can also listen to any other events. Here is an example of stop listening. For example, we subscribe to some event and do something. This is a lambda. You can do it like this or like this, calling the function. And then we off this event. We stop listening it. There is only one, you can only call at the moment one function per event. So if you want to change the attack to another function, you need to off it first, or it will give you a warning. This is a limitation that I am having on the library. I will try to improve it later on newer versions, so you can subscribe multiple events, but at the moment you should only subscribe one event, and in case you need to call multiple functions, you can call them here or emit a signal or anything else. So here is an example of sending a message from the viewer. Remember, the player is inside the viewer. This is the player, the mesh instance, the 3D, and the pointer. So we are going to say pad.emit arcane-based event.new hello from view. So this is a way to send a message to our gamepad from our player. Another way, this is the untyped way. Another way will be to have a typed event. I'm going to add it here because it seems like it is missing this example. So yeah, I'm going to create a class typed event example extends a events dot arcane base event. So we are going to have, for example, a variable called my value that is integer, and then the constructor. On init we are going to pass func init, and we pass my value int type int. So my value is equals to my value. This could be, for example, an attack event or whatever. Vibrates, I don't know. So first we need to call the super dot init or super class and say the name of the event. This is a typed event example. Typed example events. I'm going to name it actually. So yeah, now we can use this if we want. Where we were. So this is the untyped way. We can only just pass an event without properties, without like variables or anything, values. But to make it typed, we just duplicate this, and we are going to have a type example event.new and the value 5, 6. And now we are passing to our gamepad a type event that has a value. Okay, great. So I hope that was clear. Now we have the rotation. To get the rotation of the gamepad, we do to rotate like we were doing with the mesh. We make pad.startGet quaternion and then pad onGet quaternion, and we call the onGet quaternion function. And to get the pointer, the same. StartGet pointer, onGet pointer, we call the onGet pointer. So let's check how the onAttack and onGet quaternion and onGet pointer functions are being handled. So on attack, we are going to emit to the gamepad a hello from view event. Yeah, this is just a silly example. And then we just write to the screen the name of the player attacked. On custom event, we just print the custom event. On get quaternion, here we check if the values are not null, if not returned, in order to prevent breaking the game. And if they are not null, we set to our pad quaternion object, to our quaternion, we set the values. This is declared here on top, quaternion, pad quaternion. So we are setting all the values from the event, and then we are using this on our process function. We set the mesh instance transform basis to the pad quaternion value, and that's how we are rotating it. Also, let's see how the pointer is being handled. We also check that the x and y is not null, and then we just get the viewport size and we normalize it, and we just change the pointer position to the new x and the new y. That's pretty much it. Great. So now let's see the gamepad, because we have been the whole time on the viewer. Let's go now to the gamepad, to the gamepad scene, and to the script. So on the gamepad script, we have the same initialization as in the viewer, but the device type, we set it to pad instead of view. And we are setting the pad orientation to portrait. For this example, if you don't specify, it will be landscape by default. Listen when the gamepad is initialized here, and well, we do the initialization. There is no initial. Oh yeah, there is here. We print the pads. We don't care about the initial state pads in this example. We write to screen initialize. Then we emit to the views. Here we are emitting an event from the gamepad to the viewer, to all the viewers. Usually there is only one viewer, but there could be more. So there is this function emit to views, and we are sending an untyped event hello from pad. Also, here I have the example for the types event. My custom event is the same as the one we created before. So my custom event equals extends Arcanebase event, and you have some value. You can call the superclass. And we are listening the events from the viewer on hello from view. We call the on hello from view function. And we just print on the screen, write on the screen hello, and then we make our gamepad vibrate for 200 seconds. This is arcane.pad.vibrate 200. We can do this from both, from the view and from the pad. Well, this Arcanepad object can be used to vibrate, but the arcane.pad is only accessible on the gamepad. On the viewer, as we saw with the player, we have the pad object that we assigned on this when we created the player. On the gamepad, instead, we have this global arcane.pad. We didn't assign it. It's just there is only one path So we just access it like this. You don't need to assign it. So let's move ahead and see a little bit how the buttons. We have the calibrate pointer top left, calibrate pointer bottom right, attack, and calibrate rotation. We're going to see all this. So the attack button is the simplest. It just, when we press it, we emit also an untyped event that is of type attack, and then the viewer is listening it as we saw before. We just do whatever. It could be a jump, or it could be anything else. So let's see the calibrate rotation. This is interesting. So I'm going to move my screen a little bit so you see what's going on. So I'm going to run the application on both the viewer and the gamepad, and now it's going to load them. 1 second. Okay. So as you can see, it loaded our gamepads, but they are discalibrated, right? It's like it is not, well, it's sort of calibrated. I'm going to discalibrate it more. You probably have it like this, like it looks bad, right? I'm going to remove the other gamepad because it's annoying. I just closed the application. Okay, so now you see it, right? It is discalibrated. It doesn't follow well the rotation. So we put it parallel to our screen, and we press on this button, calibrate rotation, and now it follows perfectly our phone, right? So it's as simple as that. You need to make a tutorial or explain in some way. If you are going to use this, you have to explain to your users how this works. Also, you are going to make the pointer now calibrate. So to calibrate the pointer, we have these two buttons on the top. One is for top left and one is bottom right. What means top left and bottom right? Well, our screen, we need to know the top left of our screen and the bottom right. So we point to the top left and we press calibrate pointer top left. And as you can see, now I have the Godot sprite there, but it's not doing anything. So now we go to our bottom, we point to the bottom right of the screen and we press calibrate bottom right. And now we just have the pointer calibrated. I calibrated to my screen, but as you can see, the game window is smaller, so I should have calibrated to that. But if I make the screen bigger, now it's fine. So you have to, it's not actually the screen top left and bottom right, but the view, the game view. So usually the game will be full screen, so it is the same. So that's pretty much it. And also we have the attack event that makes our gamepad vibrate. And as you can see on our screen, it is logging that our player attacked. Babs is the name of this user. And now we are going to load the other player. This is called Baba, and when we press attack, it says Baba attack. Babs attack, Baba attack. As you can see, it is differentiating the both gamepads. So yeah, these things, calibrating the pointer and the rotation, it may be kind of tricky to explain to our users. Like you need to make a tutorial for that. I made a few tutorials with Unity. I think I have one example here on YouTube. But in the future, I will try to add a template, so you don't have to make it. No, this is not. Oh yeah, this is a tutorial. Let's see. So you can see, shoot here, then shoot here, and you have the calibrated already. So yeah, I will try to add a template in the future, but at the moment, if you want to use these mechanics, you need to explain them a little bit for your users. Also, you will need to handle if the phone doesn't support rotations. I need to provide a method for that, like on phone doesn't support, but at the moment it is not providing anything. So, for example, on your player, when you say target quaternion, target pointer, you will have a method on get quaternion error, on get pointer error. But at the moment, that's not supported. So what you can do is just set a boolean and wait for a few seconds and check if it is returning a value. And if it's not returning anything, it means that the phone doesn't support that. This should be done out of the box. Sorry for that, but well, it's a lot of work. So yeah, we are building it one step at a time. So in the next video, we are going to see how to export our game to our Gamepad here, to the view, to the home page. So yeah, I'm going to say that for the next video. So thank you for watching and see you soon. Goodbye.